So starting off with eyebrows, I am going into my JUVIA'S Place Brow Gel in the color Ebony, and I'm just going to go ahead and prep my eyebrows. This also has a light tint of a dark brown into the gel, so I am putting that and making my eyebrows go in place. And then I'm going to go into my Anastasia Beverly Hills brow pen in the color dark brown just to create some hair-like strokes on my eyebrows and to make it look super natural. I did go from pencils to pen just because I feel like the pen gives it more of a natural look. Now on to carving on my eyebrows. I am using my Morphe E38 brush, and I'm gonna go ahead and carve out my eyebrows using my Too Faced Born This Way concealer in the color Toffee. And I'm just gonna go ahead and go right next to my eyebrow shape to just shape out my eyebrows. And then I like to go ahead and drag the concealer upwards just so it could blend out super nicely. Now I'm going to go in with my Morphe buffer brush, and I'm just going to go ahead and buff that concealer into my skin. And now on to my eyeshadow base. I did go ahead and mix Toffee with my P. Louise Born This Way base in the color Rumor 1. And now onto eyeshadow. I am going to be going into my JUVIA'S Place The Coffee Shop palette, and I'm using this dark brown just to kind of create this winged look. And I am using a piece of paper just to kind of like sharpen my wing in a sense. I ended up not using it at the ending of it, but this does help create the shape if you want a nice and sharp wing. So overall, I'm going slightly above my natural crease and creating this cut crease winged look, and I'm bringing that towards the front of my eyebrows. As you guys can see, we are creating some shape over here. And now onto the transition color. I am going into my JACLYN Hill palette. This is the volume 2 palette, and I'm using the color G Money just to go ahead and diffuse that brown. And now I'm going to go back into the P. Louise base in Rumor 1, and I'm going to use my Morphe buffer brush just to kind of create a no cut crease. And I am going to go back into that brown that I use in the Coffee Shop palette, and I'm going to go ahead and create a little wing in the eye. And now onto the crease itself, I am going to go ahead and apply this nude shade from my NYX palette. All shades and colors will be listed down below. And then onto liner, I am using my NYX Epic liner in the color brown just to go ahead and actually create this wing. And I do want the wing to be not too dark, so I went in with brown. But now onto concealer, I am going to go into my e.l.f. Camo concealer in the color tan, and then underneath that I'm going to use the same concealer but in the color chestnut. And what I like to do is I like to go in brighter in my inner corners and then a little bit darker towards the outside, because I really like a pretty bright under eye, but only within like the very inner corners of my eyes. It kind of just gives my face dimension, and I'm just gonna go ahead and apply that in all the places that I want to highlight. So I am going to go ahead and also apply the chestnut color on to my nose and also a bit of my forehead. Now I am going to go ahead and use this angle brush that I got from Morphe, and I am using my Milk Makeup contour stick in the color Spaced. And I'm just going to go ahead and create that contour. We want a nice and chiseled and defined nose. And onto foundation, I do like to apply my foundation last. I am going into my Lancome Teint Idole foundation in the color 560. And I like to mix that with my Rare Beauty foundation in the color 530N. And I feel like me doing my makeup this way has really changed the game for me. I like to use as less product as possible, so I don't like to top my concealer on top of my foundation because it just gets very icky. Now on to blending out my foundation. I am using my Real Techniques Instapot brush, and I'm going in a patting motion, and literally I am just keeping the foundation exactly where I placed it at. I don't want to go into the concealer that I have it at. I'm just going to go ahead and blend it exactly where I placed it at. And I'm just lifting up my baby hairs just to make sure that I don't get the foundation onto my hair. And I'm using my Morphe foundation small buffer brush, and I'm just going to go ahead and buff out my forehead because my forehead is a little bit smaller, so I like to use a smaller brush for a smaller surface area. And I'm just going to go into the sides of my concealer and use that foundation brush just to blend out the edges so that there's no line of demarcation and the concealer could just marry into the foundation. And now on to blending out the concealer. I like to go into my Ulta foundation precision brush, and I'm just going to go ahead and blend that out. And I like to leave my eyes for last because I do want my under eyes to be extremely opaque. And then now onto the eyes. I like to go ahead and blend out the darker part first of my concealer, and then I go in to blend out the lighter part, which is the inner corners, last. And I like to really blend that into place. Again, I don't try to move extremely outward because I don't want my entire under eye to be extremely bright, just those inner corners. So I'm just going to go ahead and pat that and keep it in the place that I had originally placed the concealer at. Hopefully that makes sense. But for me, I'm a little extra, so I am going to go ahead and do a second round. And I am going to go ahead and use a Morphe small buffer brush or blending brush. And I'm going to go ahead and blend out my contour. And I like to blend out my contour into my actual eyebrows and eyeshadow just because I feel like it just gives it a more like defined look, and it just marries the look together. So yeah, y'all, I am going to go back into that concealer buffer brush to buff out the nose highlights. And then I'm using that to kind of chisel in my nose as well too, on the sides of where I highlighted my under eye. But now on to setting my face. I am using my Huda Beauty loose setting powder in the color Cinnamon Bun. And I'm just going to go ahead and press that into my skin using this powder puff that I got from Amazon. These are pretty cheap. You can find them on Amazon, and it's all in my Amazon storefront. Go ahead and check that out. And I'm just going to go ahead and apply that on all the areas that I went ahead and highlighted at. So don't forget, whenever you have a liquid, go ahead and set it with your powders, please, por favor. And now onto contour. I am going to go in with my JUVIA'S Bronze palette in the color Deep Dark, and I'm using both of the colors because it's only two colors. It has like a dark brown then a darker brown, and I'm mixing those two in between just to go ahead and apply that for my contour. And I'm applying that underneath the apples of my cheek and also where I contoured my nose. Now to line my waterline, I am going to go in with my NYX Epic Smoke Liner in the color Fried Up, and then I'm going to mix that with that same liner but in the color Mauve Grit. And now I'm going to go back into that JACLYN Hill palette using G Money and then that dark brown from the JUVIA'S palette to apply underneath my eyes. And I'm just going to go ahead and redefine that cut crease back with that brown and also that wing. Again, this is the viral latte makeup, so I'm trying to make this look as latte-ish as possible. But now on to blush. I am using my JUVIA'S Rouge Volume 5 palette, and I'm using this orange shade onto my cheeks as blush. And now on to my eyelashes. I do like to go in with my L'Oreal Lash Paradise primer, and I am going to use that on my lower lashes. This just makes my lower lashes extremely long and thick and full, and I just love the consistency of it. So I like to put that on and let that dry, and then use my mascara afterwards. And I promise y'all, if y'all use this routine, you would not do your under eyes the same ever again, okay? Now for my inner corners, I am using this small Morphe bullet brush just to go ahead and blend out my Louise base in the color Rumor 0. And I am going to go into my Morphe 35B palette. This palette I believe is discontinued because I had this palette for years, y'all, like years. But I am using just a white shade, so use any white shade. And I'm using another bullet brush just to go ahead and blend that out. And I feel like me doing this just really ties the look in together. Like, I really love me a white inner corner. I don't know if it's just me, but it really just elevates the look and just makes it go from 10 to 100. And let me know if y'all think so too. Comment down a brown heart if y'all feel like the white definitely elevated the look. Now I did go ahead and do my inner corner wings off camera. But now onto my lips. I am going to go ahead and use my Italia pencil in the color black. I like to use a black liner and then top with a brown liner just so I could get a super deep brown liner. And if you guys have super deep brown liner suggestions, please leave that down below because I feel like I haven't found the one yet. So I just do this and it's worked for me, to be honest. And then I am going to go into my Fenty Beauty liquid liner. And this is in the color Breadwinner. Well, liquid lipstick in the color Breadwinner. And I'm just going to go ahead and top the black. And now I'm going to go into my NYX Butter Gloss. And this is in the color Madeline. And I'm just going to go ahead and place that onto my lips. And then blend out that liner into that lip gloss. And now to really top it, this is a trick that I've learned and I've ran with this since. I am gonna go in with my Louise base in the color Rumor 0, which is a white eyeshadow base, and place it on the center of my lips and blend that out. And I feel like it just gives me the perfect nude, y'all. And then to spray my face, I'm using my Charlotte Tilbury spray. And I'm gonna go ahead and pat that down with my foundation brush just to get rid of any droplets that dropped on my face. And then I'm using my One Size spray. And I'm just gonna go ahead and just pat that in. And this conjunction, y'all, your makeup will last forever, okay? So now I'm just gonna go ahead and reapply some of my blush because I feel like I did lose that in the midst of it. So I am just gonna go ahead and reapply that just to give my face some life. And then I like to go in with my Benign Pretty Pink powder. And I am just pressing that into my skin. And y'all, when I say when you do this, it just gives you a flawless airbrushed finish. You guys are gonna love me. But last but not least, for my highlight, I do like to do a little nose highlight action, and I'm using my Benefit Cookie highlighter. And I'm just using a liner brush to do that. And these are the finished results. I hope y'all loved my own rendition of the viral latte makeup. I feel like I definitely did it a little bit different than everybody else, which is perfectly fine. So if you guys do want more makeup videos, go ahead and comment down a lipstick emoji, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Later.